Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom reviews. You see by title below, this is on episode 12, the final and last episode of Qualidea Code. And yeah, it pretty much ended exactly how I thought it would be. Happy ending for everyone at least. But pretty much, we of course know that Gotoku is of course a human, but we see a little bit more, delve a little bit more into it. Pretty much he falls in love with ID and sees her kind of before, like he sees her as the monster. No, he didn't see her as an unknown. He saw her as her human form, which is kind of weird because he didn't have the thing on him. So I'm not too sure how that works, but pretty much she kills him, or someone kills him at first, and then later on they bring him back, I guess. And we see that he ends up having like a super deformed, like half of his body's like a monster like thing. Like holy crap. So I'm guessing it's kind of like what the all the kids have with their worlds and everything, but he doesn't have those powers, but he still is super strong enough that he can stop a bullet, which I didn't really understand because I thought at first it was like half his body, but he also caught a bullet with his other hand. So don't really understand that. Of course, just like I predicted, Aoi would end up being super stupid and crazy, like, no, I can't betray them, I can't betray Gotoku and Airi, they blah blah blah, and ends up using her power to pretty much stop everyone from using their world, their powers. And then of course the group splits up. We have, of course, at the same time this is happening, Hotoro and Maihime fighting off Airi, while of course we see Kanaria and Azuha pretty much going to chase after Aoi, to which it ends up being Kanaria getting lost, and then Asuha trying to beat Aoi, but Aoi pretty much actually gives her a hard time. Didn't expect that at all. I thought she was useless and everything, but she actually was the second in command to Maihime before, so it makes sense, and she can kind of read her mind, so she knew what she was going to do, and she had, I guess, combat, she could fight hand-to-hand combat, so in the end she ended up beating Azuha a lot. But of course it ends up being the point where she has the chance to stab her. She was going to grab a knife, but I guess she didn't want to hurt them as well. She didn't want them to kill Airi and Gotoku, but she didn't want to hurt, Azuha and all of them as well. So it was kind of confusing on that point. I knew she'd be doing something stupid, but in the end, she just gets knocked out because of Azuha. And then pretty much the two guys, obviously Kasumi and Ichiya, are trying to fight off, super powerful Gotoku, they don't have their power, so they're getting their asses kicked pretty much. Obviously, I thought, you can still shoot him. No. He'll just block it. So yeah, that sucks. While that is happening, of course, like I said, the other side was happening with Hotoro and Maihime fighting off Airi, to which point we see some flashback with Airi, and they really try to make it seem like obviously Airi and Gotoku really do care about the kids and everything, and she really has changed throughout from the beginning when she first came, I guess. And one of her wishes was, of course, just before she dies, she wanted to die for her child's sake, kind of thing. That's what she would be satisfied before she dies and everything. Having a kid would also be another thing, but of course that's why I guess Maihime figured it out that was her at the end. And in the end, she ends up dying for her child's sake, because obviously ends up closing the portal and letting them all be free. And then Gotoku is pretty much, he lets them go as well. Obviously we see Kanaria at first when she started singing, I was like, wait, that's not working. No one had, her world isn't working at the moment because of Aoi, but everyone can hear her. How loud is she singing? She's I love her singing, of course. I love the music in this anime. That's one of the things that I really do enjoy. But I was like, how the hell, if she doesn't have her power, how the hell can everyone hear her? Maybe Ichiya them, because they're right below her, but even what's it called? Maihime them could hear her, and they were super far away. How the hell is that possible? I don't know. But of course they all get their powers. They just kill Airi, thus destroying her body, so the gate gets closed up, and in the end everyone is able to get out, including Gotoku, who's still alive and is going to be watching over Aoi. So I don't know how that's going to work. He's still got his creepy, gross looking self, and Aoi obviously is unconscious. I don't know what's going to happen there, but obviously that happens. And then the end, of course, is the unknown are gone, Earth is saved, you can go see your family and everything, your parents now. They want to help rebuild everything. I'm still mad that Ichiya and Kanaria didn't have like a moment where they finally kiss or something. It's kind of something that I wanted, to be honest. Like, they keep throwing these kind of things of them caring about each other, and he doesn't really just, flat out go and say I love you. It kind of sucks, to be honest, in that part. But yeah, everyone pretty much gets their happy ending, and in the end, they all know it was Heidi as well, and they have like a gravestone for her, and it's just your normal happy ending, even if they pretty much enslaved them. Heidi enslaved them. They still care about her, and in the end, the unknown are pushed out. You can now see your parents. Earth is now reclaimed, and yada yada yada. That was the end of the anime. So nothing too special, nothing too exciting in this last episode. To be honest, it was pretty much all predicted. I predicted that this kind of stuff would happen, and overall, how do I feel about the season? I would honestly give it a 5 out of 10. It would have been worse. It would have been worse considering how badly it started, and the middle of the anime was bad as well. But when it came to the point that the story started coming in more, it did get a little bit more interesting. Sure, we've seen it stuff like other movies like The Matrix and stuff like that, and other animes as well. So it was nothing special. The animation art was pretty damn bad at a lot of points. The combat action or whatever you call it was pretty much just frame by frame. It was like pictures like being thrown in. There was no real cool action in this. The story, like I said, literally didn't come to fruition until later on, and even then it was still nothing special. It was interesting to the point that I was like, oh, I'll continue watching this, but it wasn't anything super special. The characters, as I said before, weren't really none of them really piqued my interest where I was like, oh my gosh, I want to keep watching this because of them. I did like the Kasumi. He was pretty interesting and cool, but that was about it. But overall, it's really all I gotta say, guys, about this anime. Qualidea Code, definitely probably one of the worst animes of this season. It did get better towards the end, but it wasn't enough that it would get it higher than a 5. I'm going to leave my review of it at a 5 out of 10, and that's pretty much all I'm going to give it. But overall, other than that, the music was awesome. I still love the music. That was pretty much the one thing I did. Opening, the ending, and of course, the soundtrack inside of, the original soundtrack on the anime was also really well done. Wished it would have more Kanaria singing, but overall, it was still pretty good on that point. But that was pretty much all I really cared about. The rest was, the story was okay, like I said before, and everything else was pretty much below average. It was pretty garbage, especially the art and animation. The animation was just like, oh. One of the things I never want to remember about this anime. If you think about it on the point of, oh, the music was good, the story was okay, then it was like, oh, it was okay anime. But if you think about it, like the art animation stuff, it was like, oh, don't remind me, please, don't remind me. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy it, give a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. Really just help the channel. And if you want to comment down your thoughts, how you felt about the season overall, how you felt about the episode, how you felt about anything about this anime, feel free to comment below your thoughts. It's always interesting to see what you guys are thinking about it as well. If you agree or disagree, it's always interesting. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see ya.